Tropicana. She is just a baby. I have just gotten her, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago. But she has pushed out some new leaves for me. I think she is absolutely beautiful. For some reason, the light I have set up in the back is making her leaves look kind of yellow, and I can assure you they are not. Um, she is in the same soil as all of my other philodendrons, which I will get into a little later in the video. But she is just gorgeous. I'm really excited to have her in my collection. And this is my Moonglow. She is just gorgeous. She is also just little. I've got her in a 6-inch pot, and she is just beautiful. She's got a new growth popping up right there. She has pushed up this new leaf since I got her also. Really, really a beautiful plant. Really liked adding her to my collection too. And the next one is going to be my Philodendron Micans. This plant was just a baby when I got her in January, and she has grown a lot. I really, really enjoy her. Any of you that have been with me for a while know that I love anything in the reds or burgundies or black. She is very, very pretty. I love her. She was kind of a slow grower at first. I think that when you get a smaller philodendron, you know, like in a 2-inch pot or a 3-inch pot or a 4-inch pot, it seems like it takes them a little while to take off. But then once they do, I mean, there is like no stopping them. So they just go on and on and on. They grow incredibly fast once they seem to reach a certain point. So don't give up hope. Don't get discouraged. They really take off in the spring through the summer. So it is pretty much a no-brainer that everything is going to grow more in the summertime. Okay, now on to my next one. She is my Philodendron Orzowickii. She is a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. She has a new growth coming out right here, which I'm very, very excited about. She is a beautiful girl. She is losing this leaf back here, which is normal. I mean, she looked kind of rough when I first got her, going through shipping and everything. She bounced right back. She had a few older. She is a cutting, so she had a few roots on her, mostly aerial root. But she's doing very well for me. The dieback is normal, so don't panic, especially when you get a plant in shipping and it's a cutting. I mean, it's gonna happen. But that is my beautiful Orzowickii philodendron. I love her because she reminds me a lot of a fern. She's very thin-leafed, and she is just gorgeous. I cannot wait to see her new leaf growth that she's pushing out. It's going to be pretty cool. And then my next philodendron, which I am going to have to turn this guy, is my black cardinal. I just got her not long ago, and I love her. She is very, very beautiful. I love the black leaves. And the red stem is just gorgeous. Really, really like this plant. I mean, I've been wanting this for a long time, but it seemed like all I could find was babies. And, of course, they want a ton of money for it. And I'm not paying a ton of money for any of my plants. I mean, I'm just not going to do it. I've learned my lesson the hard way, and I bought an expensive plant, and it was a cutting, and it died. And the seller told me that she would replace it, and because it looked horrible when I got it. And so far, it's not been replaced. I did get a hold of her, and she told me that, well, when I buy another plant from her, she'll send it along with the other plant that I buy from her. And I just didn't find that very cool at all. But whatever, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I think that was kind of crappy, but whatever. You just gotta go on. Okay, now my next plant is this really, really beautiful little Florida Beauty that I got. She came in, I think it was like a 2 or 3 inch pot was what she was being sold as. And she has given me this new leaf. Or no, it was this one. That is her newest growth. And then she's got another one popping out right here. So she is growing pretty darn good for me. I really like this plant. I can't wait for her to get a little bit more mature, so I can see those big beautiful leaves. But she is very, very pretty. This was all damage that was on her when I got her, but she was a rooted cutting. Okay, now on to the next one is my beautiful red emerald. She has, I would say, one of the fastest growing philodendrons that I have in my collection. She was a cutting that I got in the wintertime, and anything that you're seeing on her is pretty much new growth. This leaf right here is a leaf that she came with when I got her as a cutting, and this one here, I believe. She is beautiful. I love the red stems. I had her on a moss pole, but it was too big and I had to take it out, so I've got her hooked up with a bamboo stake, and I put a little trellis in there just to help hold her up. I think I am going to be repotting her probably late summer, so I will re-put her moss pole back in her. She's a very, very beautiful plant. Okay, the next plant is, I need to move some plants. Hold on, guys. Okay, I got my plants moved and out of the way and put back where they belong, while I got some others out. This is my beautiful Philodendron dubium. The lighting is making everything look yellow, and it is not. But she is a beautiful, beautiful plant. I love her. I haven't had her real long, like maybe a month. She is gorgeous. I love the shape of the leaves. And then I also got some cuttings of the Philodendron dubium. I got these from Linda, and they are all in water, rooting out for now. This plant seems to be a really fast grower, and I just love the red stems. They're kind of like a burgundy-ish, reddish color, but just absolutely a really, really gorgeous plant. I mean, I love it. It reminds me a lot of the horsehead in a lot of ways, but I just love how it splits off, and it's a huge leaf, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let me move these guys. And then the next plant is my Philodendron Spade. She is really gorgeous. She was a cutting when I got her, and she took off like crazy. I do use rooting hormone on my philodendron cuttings when I get them, and it works out very good. I also like the fact of using the rooting hormone because most of the rooting hormones have a fungicide in it, so it's going to help stop any kind of bacterial or fungal rot that you may have. But she has grown a lot for me. She pushed out this, and this is new. She's still unfurling. I think she actually just opened up today, so she'll straighten herself out. I think there was another one. I think it was this one that pushed out new, and it looked exactly the same as this when it came out, and it straightened herself right up to this beauty. But I like this because it is going to hang over. I have her in my plant room living, so she is another beauty. And then this one is one I have wanted forever and a day, years and years. She is gorgeous. This is my Philodendron gloriosum. She is a beauty. These are the two leaves that I had that was on her when I got her. They have gotten much bigger, and she's pushing out this new growth right here, which I have been very excited about. It looks like a very healthy leaf coming out of it, and she has another new growth right there. So we are excited. Very, very beautiful plant. I'm very, very excited to have her in my collection, and I think she is gorgeous. I'm looking forward to watching her grow and get bigger and be beautiful. Alright, now this next plant is, let's scoot over and make some room. My Bromarks. I really, really like this plant. I got her as a cutting. I got two cuttings, and at first she did not do very well for me. It just seemed like she was stuck, and she was pushing roots, but she just had no new growth coming out. They were there, but they weren't. It was like they stalled. So I just kept feeding her because she was healthy, and I just kept feeding her, and she started, all of a sudden she's got all these new growths. This is a new leaf, this is a new leaf back here. She's got a new leaf back here. She's got all kinds of new growth popping up all over the place. And I am finally very happy with her. She has straightened out whatever problem she was having with stalled growth. But she is a beauty. Her leaves will get very large and elongated and as she matures, so I'm really happy about this plant too. Okay, now I've got 2 more plants in here that I have hanging up, 2 more of my philodendrons that I have hanging up. I am going to put these plants back, and then I will show you the other 2 philodendrons that I have hanging in here, and then we are going to talk about potting mix and fertilizer, and then we'll go outside and look at the ones I have outside. I told you guys this is going to be a long video. I can't help it. I have a lot of philodendrons, and I want to talk about some care and fertilization, so I'll be back. Okay guys, this is by Monstera Adansonii. I also got her as, I believe I bought 2 cuttings with her, and she has just taken off. I love this plant. She is gorgeous, and I cannot wait until she just trails down and gets a lot bigger. And she has grown a lot since I got her, because like I said, it was just a couple of cuttings, so she is beautiful. This plant, every time I look at her, I just can't believe how she grows. She grows like crazy. Alright, let's look at the last one here in my living room. Okay, here's the last one in my living room. Let's see if I can get the lighting better. Here we go, I think. This is my Philodendron ecuadornis. She is gorgeous. I love this philodendron. She will get really long, elongated leaves. This is a new growth. And then she has another one coming out right here. Very beautiful plant. I love this plant. She is just gorgeous. I cannot wait until her leaves just hang. I've got her in a hanging pot, and I'm just gonna do like a short, quick, see, the lighting is going to be really bad, so. Oh, I forgot. My other Monstera Adansonii, this is the narrow-leafed version. And she grows like crazy. She doesn't get as big of holes as the wide form, but she is still a nice looking plant. She's got some older leaves dying off, but she is a great little plant. Alright, now let's talk about soil and fertilizer. Okay guys, now this is everything that I use except for my soil. I didn't drag my soil in. As far as lighting for philodendrons, I mean, they like highlight. I have most of my philodendrons that are in my house are sitting in a south or a west window. Now, I know some of you are probably cringing, but my south window is probably different from your south window. I have a small smoke tree. outside of my southern window. So it is like a shaded south window. As you can see the tree out there? But it still gets plenty of light. I do have sheer curtains, so I also close my sheer curtains on my west window because that is very intense light in the late afternoon. And some of my plants sitting in that window can take it and some can't. So I just pull my sheer. I have a white sheer. It reflects a lot of the light, and it also stops it from burning your plants. But your philodendrons do like a lot of high light. My philodendrons that I have sitting outside on my back patio, they get morning sun all day long until about noon. So they are in the sun, and they love it. I'm not getting any burning or anything like that. But now if you put them in the afternoon sun and left them out there all day, yeah, they're going to burn. But the morning sun, they love it. You just can't put them out in a hot afternoon sun from like say 1 to for the rest of the day and expect them to be out there in like 90-degree weather with blazing sun hitting them. It's just, you got to know your area where you want to put your plants and make sure that they're not getting that full-on afternoon sun. And like the philodendrons that I have out in my greenhouse, I have a shade cloth over my greenhouse. They get morning sun and they also get late afternoon sun, but it is being covered up by that shade cloth so that it's not intense. I've not had any problems with burning on any of my plants. So, you know, you just have to know the area where you're putting them and try to figure that out. You don't want to put them outside and burn them. You don't want to put them outside in the cold. You know, like say early spring when you start taking your plants out, or late in the fall. You want to get them out in the spring after you know your temperatures aren't going to dive under 50 degrees or even 60 maybe. I mean, you know, you don't want to chance that. Now for feed, I use all organic feed on all of my houseplants, so the feed thing is what I use for everything, and that is including my orchids, including all of my garden plants, my philodendrons, everything. I use my earthworm castings, which is right there in that bag. The bag has the directions on it. Now, I just eyeball everything. I cannot tell you measurements of anything that I use because I eyeball anything. Probably about the closest I get to measuring would be my liquid fertilizers. But I also use the plant tone. Now the plant tone and the earthworm castings, every time I repot a plant, I add my earthworm castings and I add my plant tone. I just sprinkle it in after I get my soil mixture ready, and I sprinkle it in and I mix it up and I pot my plants. As far as, now what else I use is I use this pure kelp, and I use fish fertilizer. And what I do with that is I mix, I fill up a gallon jug. I just save my old milk jugs and I use them to put my water in to water my plants and pour it into my sprinkling can. But I use half fish fertilizer and half kelp every single time I water my plants. Every time in the summer. Um, that is just how I do it. I'm not telling you that's how you should do it. I'm not telling you you should use these products. I am just explaining to you what I do for my plants. And that is all of the, um, that is the only fertilizers that I use on all my house plants. And then as far as potting, what I use for my potting of my philodendrons is I use soil, any kind of soil. You don't, I know everybody is like, go out and buy the most expensive soil, and I mean, you don't want to get a really crappy soil. You just want, I try to make sure that I get a soil that don't have the little, like the osmocote balls. I don't like those. I don't really know why. I mean, I guess it's because, majorly it's because I want to have control of feeding my plants. I want to know exactly what they're getting. I don't know what is all the little green balls, you know, you'll see little green balls and stuff. That's all fertilizer that they put in the soil. I don't really care for it. But I mean, and I have bought it. I've gotten like the Miracle Grow, and it has it, and other stuff. But here lately, I've been buying the stuff that doesn't have it in. I just bought a new one that is soil with compost in it. I really like that. I've been using it for about a month. I cannot tell you what the brand is, but like I said, your soil, yes, your soil is important, but you don't have to go out and break the bank buying soil, because when you're adding all of your fertilizers to it, and you're adding your perlite, and you're adding other things to enrich your soil, it's going to work for you no matter what. But anyways, how I pot up my philodendrons is I like to make a really airy mixture. I use the lump charcoal. It's all natural wood charcoal. You can see it back here. I get it at Walmart. I prefer that over just using the orchid bark. I have stopped buying the orchid bark completely. I mean, that's what I have left, but I'm trying to use it up. But I used to just use the orchid bark in my philodendrons, or anything that I was trying to make airy, because it's got your fir bark, it's got the horticultural charcoal, and it's got perlite in it. But I started going over to the lump charcoal. It's all natural. You see down there in the bag, it says all natural. And I get it at Walmart for, I think I got that big bag. It is an 8-pound bag, and I believe I got it for $4. They have all different kinds. You just want to make sure that it's all natural wood coal, and you know, it doesn't have any fire enhancement in it like what you would use that on your grill. You want to make sure that it's all natural. And then what I do is, it kind of looks like this in the bag. It's big hunks. Some of them aren't that big, but what I do is I get like 3 grocery bags, and I put a bunch of the charcoal in it, wrap the bag up, I take it out on the patio, and I pound the crap out of it with a hammer to break it up so it's small. That's what I do. and then I mix that in with my soil and my perlite. So I get that chunkiness, I get the airiness, and I also get my charcoal in there. And your charcoal is kind of important because it helps ward off bacteria or any kind of algae, anything like that in your potting mix. It will help, and it will help keep your soil fresh longer. And I also use cocoa coir. Now I get it in this big brick. It comes in like a 3-pack. I just get it on Amazon. I can't even tell you the name brand of it because I ripped the tag off. But what you do is you just place that brick in a big bowl or a bucket and you pour water in it and it expands. And then when it's done expanding and dries up, it looks like this. I really like it over the peat moss. It's more available, and this actually has nutrients in it. So to me, that's very important. The cocoa coir is it provides good drainage if you're not using a lot of it, because it also holds a lot of moisture. So you want to be very, very careful of that when you're using it in your plants. I mean, if you're looking to hold that moisture, like with ferns or calatheas, it works great if you're looking to hold that moisture. But if you're putting it in your yes, your philodendrons like the moisture, but I'm just saying you want to be careful, especially if you are an overwaterer like me. It also has a really low pH, and I like that. I like using it in my plants because I have well water, and I have the pH in my well water usually runs anywhere between 7.5 and 7.8. So I have very, very high pH, which is a struggle with me for my orchids because they like a lower pH. But usually once you're adding all of your fertilizer and stuff to your water, it does lower your pH. And the cocoa coir also helps lower your pH. I also like it because it is very, very rich in a lot of different nutrients. And I like that for my plants. I have been using it for a while. I got away from the peat for environment reasons, but I wanted to go to the cocoa coir because it has a lower pH and because it does help hold a little bit of moisture, and also because it has a lot of really great nutrients in it. It has potassium, it has iron, it has magnesium, it has copper and zinc. It also promotes beneficial bacteria, which is great to have in your potting mixes for your plants, because it's also going to help ward off any kind of diseases that may come along. It helps minimize the harmful bacteria, and it's also really rich in hormones, so it's going to help your plants grow a little bit better because it's pushing that hormone down into the roots and up into the plant. But as long as it's getting all the nutrients that it needs to do that, because some nutrients travel and move around your plant and some nutrients don't. That's a whole different other story, which I'm not getting into all that because that's like another half an hour talk, and I'm not getting into that aspect of it. But I'm just saying that I prefer the cocoa coir over the peat. It's more of a sustainable product. It has a lot of great nutrients in it. Now I do have to be careful with it because I do have well water, And my well water is already filled with iron and zinc and copper and manganese. I mean, so I have to be careful. I use it sparingly in my pots. Now, I can't sit you here and tell you the amounts that I use of my soil mixture. All I can really tell you, because I just eyeball everything, you guys. I don't measure out anything. I don't even do that when I cook. So, I mean, I use my soil, my perlite, my wood coal. I chop it into little pieces with my hammer, my cocoa coir, and I don't use a lot of it, but I do use it in my philodendrons. I water philodendron. I've heard a lot of people say this, and there's actually a couple things that I want to go over because I don't understand why people say this. But philodendrons like to have water. They like to have food. I hear a lot of people saying that they wait till their philodendrons dry all the way down and totally dry out before they water them. I don't do that. I keep my philodendrons all at a consistently even moist level. Not sopping wet, you know, it doesn't stay like that all the time. I keep all of my philodendrons at a moist level all the time. The humidity in my plant room and in here in my living room, I keep around 60. I keep fans running constantly. The air is always moving. You have to keep air moving in your grow spaces for your plants. If you don't, you're going to have a lot of issues. You're going to have bacteria problems. You're going to have fungal problems, not only in your soil, but on your leaves. You can't keep a room hot and humid and not have fans going. You have to have that air circulation. You have to have windows open. You have to have fans moving. You know, whatever even in the wintertime. If my room is hot, warm, I mean, we keep our temperatures in our house, like here in my living room, our temperature stays about 70, 71. I keep my humidity at about 60, and I have a fan running on my plants all winter long. It's not a big fan. It don't, you know, it doesn't have to be anything like, but you have to keep fans moving. You have to keep air circulating, especially when your house is closed up, like in the wintertime or in the summertime when you have your air conditioners on. And that's another thing. You want to keep your plants away from that draft of your air conditioners blowing. Whole nother story. Something else that I've heard a lot of people say that kind of bugs me is that philodendrons like to have tight feet, which means they want to keep them in smaller pots until they get root bound. I don't find that to be true. I put all of my philodendrons into way bigger pots than they need to be, but I also have an airy mixture. So if you're not using that airy mixture, you don't want to throw it into a big pot with just soil and water all the time like I would do mine, because you are going to end up with rot. But what I'm saying is philodendrons have large roots that they vine out, and the more room that you are giving those roots to grow, the more your plant is going to grow. So try not to keep your philodendrons root bound. I mean, when they're babies, yeah, keep them in a smaller pot. You know, like this guy and some of the other couple ones that I showed you. You want to keep them in a smaller pot when they're babies. But once they start taking off and you see that they're growing and growing and growing and growing, I can bet you that the roots are just phenomenal in that pot. And if you start seeing problems like your leaves yellowing, you have to water it constantly. that is two very good signs that you need to pop that plant into a much bigger pot. When you put your plant into a bigger pot, it is going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So that's my take. I mean, I'm no expert. I'm just telling you how I grow my philodendrons and what I do. But like I said, I don't have measurements. I keep everything in a container. I pour my soil and my perlite in it, and then depending on what plant I'm getting ready to repot, then I put that mixture over into another container. And like say if I'm doing my philodendrons, then I add my wood coal and my cocoa coir, and I add my worm castings and my Espoma organic plant tone. And this stuff is for everything. I mean, I use it out in my garden. I use it in my potted plants. I also use the pink bag out in my garden, but I use specifically that for all of my houseplants. All of my houseplants get that fertilizer. All of my houseplants get the earthworm castings when they're potted up. And then on a weekly basis, in the summer, they're getting the fish fertilizer and my kelp. And I do half and half in a gallon jug and feed them. Now in the winter, that's another thing. A lot of people say don't feed your plants in the winter, but here's the big but. If you've got warmer temps in your house, like say a plant room, and your plant room is warm and you got grow lights going, and your plants are under that grow light, well, if you've got your plants in a warmer environment in a room and you've got grow lights on, your plants are growing, which means your plants need to be fed. Now, even in my living room, I have grow lights on. So I feed my plants all winter long. Now, depending on the growth, I mean, I may not go crazy, and like feed them every week. It just would depend on the plant. You have to know your plants. But anyways, oh my god, this video is getting way, way, way too long. I have not even showed you guys all of my philodendron collection yet. I don't know. We're gonna have to start cutting this off, and I'm gonna have to hurry up and just show you the rest of my collection. And if you guys have any questions, just ask me in the comment area. I mean, I really don't know what else I can really tell you, but I think I went over everything pretty thoroughly, I hope. But I'm going to show you the last of my philodendron collection, which I still have a lot. But I'm just going to go through everything really quick. I'm not going to sit and talk about it. So let's get on with this. Okay guys, here is my big monstera. Okay guys, let's keep moving with this. Oh my god, this video is so long. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is my big monstera. She is gorgeous. She has really enjoyed being outside here. She is on the northwest corner of my front porch. And I have to get another moss ball in there for her because she is starting to flop over again. And I'm afraid she's going to snap, especially if we have a big wind. Okay. Here is another Monstera deliciosa, and this is 2 cuttings off of my mother plant that I took. I was actually going to send them to my daughter, but I ended up just buying her a plant and sending it to her. So I have this one too. She's grown really well for me. I started her in water propagation in the winter, and she's in soil now, and she is just taken off. My Stevie Blue, I know there are a lot of arguments out there whether this is a pothos or a philodendron, but the research that I have done is more in the philodendron family, so I am adding her to my philodendron collection. I just repotted her into this massive clay pot because I have repotted her like 3 times this summer, and her root system is just, I've never seen a root system on a plant like what the Cebu Blues have. So if you guys are noticing that you have to water them constantly, or you have a lot of leaves turning yellow, chances are she needs to be in a bigger pot. And I would suggest that you don't keep repotting her, being her root system gets as massive and grows like it does, that I would put her in a way bigger pot, or you're just going to do nothing but keep repotting her like I have done. Alright, let's go on the back porch. Okay guys, this is my Rojo Congo, and she is a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. I love her. She has grown like crazy. I have a little tiny moss pole in there with her, and then this trellis just to help hold her up. But she is a beautiful, beautiful plant. I love her leaves, are just gorgeous. This, all these little spots, I believe, are from misting her and then the sun being on her, because she does not have any bugs or anything, so that's what that is. Over here I have my Red King Philodendron. She is really pretty. I love her a lot. She has started growing a lot better for me here lately, so I'm very happy with her. And then I have my Heartleaf Philodendron vine, and I really like this plant. She actually come in another plant that I bought, one of my orchids, and I separated her from that plant and potted her up by herself, and she's grown really well for me. She was really scrawny and nasty looking. Alright, next. Alright guys, here is my massive Salome. I have her sitting out here on my back patio, and she gets, look at the size of these leaves. She gets the morning sun all day long until about 12, 1 o'clock. And then she is in the shade all day, and then she gets just a little bit of late afternoon shaded sun. She is gorgeous. I have her potted up the exact same way. I put her in a huge pot when she was small, and she has just taken off. Love this plant. The dubium reminds me a lot of this plant. Okay, and for those of you that didn't know, the arrowheads, they are also in the philodendron family, but that's another story. Let's go to the greenhouse. Okay, before we go in the greenhouse, I forgot I have my philodendron Brazil out here. She is huge. She is a big girl. I just watered her this morning, so I don't think I am going to be able to pick her up. She is in a 12-inch pot, and she is massive. She's trailing down like crazy, and she really likes being out here in the corner of my greenhouse with that and my fern. They get morning sun, and then she's in the shade all day. Beautiful, beautiful plant. I love her. I actually have 2 of those. I have a smaller one. I forgot to show you in the house, but it don't matter. Alright, let's go in the greenhouse. Okay guys, I am going to start over here with my horsehead philodendron. I was just out here watering this morning. It has taken me like 4 days, 5 days to actually record this whole video of my philodendrons. So, but she is growing like crazy. I love this plant. I love the shape of the leaves, and as she gets older, her leaves will get more elongated also. So that is her, and then I have my Bloody Mary philodendron with the orchid in the way. she has not done a whole lot for me until recently. She's finally starting to push up new growth. I do not know what it is about the Bloody Mary or any of the red, like, this is my Rural Queen, which is also a very, very red philodendron. It seems to me like they are very slow growers. I don't know why. I don't know if it is because they are red stem and leaves. If that has something to do with it, I haven't really researched it yet. But she's finally getting new growth. This is new, that's new, and this is a new growth. And then my Rural Queen, this is the only new leaf that she has given me since I've gotten her. Crazy plant. Up here is my Philodendron Brandianum. This was a very, very small plant when I got her, and she was really sickly looking. She had a lot of yellowish leaves, and she has finally grown out of it. I mean, she still has a few that don't look great, but, you know, some of her older leaves, but yeah, I don't know. I got this plant, I don't remember where I got her. I've got her a long time ago. I mean, well, it was in the winter, but it wasn't that long ago. But, she just was a sickly plant. Like, this is one of her older leaves. And she was just, like, really yellow and not looking good. But her new growths are all coming in really nice looking. They're clean. So, I don't know. And then my Micans, I believe this is my last philodendron that I have. And I love this plant. She is definitely one of my top favorites. And I've had her since January. She was just little. We have a duck coming to see us. You can hear her, I'm sure. Here they come. But anyways, guys, this is my Micans. She is gorgeous. I love her, and I am going to cut this video off because this is way too long. I'm sorry, but I have a lot of philodendrons, and I had a lot of information that I wanted to share with you. Some things that were true and some things that are not true about philodendrons. So, like I said, know your plant. Your plants will talk to you if you just listen to them. And you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Peace. Ducky Parade. They always follow me around. They're cute. Oh, here comes some more. Bye, guys.